Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of True Story Live. Welcome to everyone on this Easter Sunday, a weird one at the end of March. I don't know. I didn't do any research and find out how often it falls on the 31st or the end of March, but in my memory, maybe it's not too good. I don't remember it coming in March very often. Usually it's in April, but here it is. So if you celebrate Easter or have any special connection to the holiday today, we hope that your day went well, whatever you decided to do. But either way, we decided to still have a broadcast tonight. But instead of getting into one of the weightier topics that we had originally planned, which, by the way, is patriarchy, and Jen actually did do a write up. And so there's one in the can ready to go. And so we'll be doing that soon, but we thought a lighter topic for tonight would be better. So we're doing game night part 2. People seemed to like it last week. And so we're going to give it a shot again tonight. And also, that's what we plan on doing. But if anybody has any topics that you'd like us to discuss, it's open for that as well. The open topic and game night. So that's what we're doing tonight, and we'll see what happens next week. But for now, we're going to try to have some fun and learn more about each other and more about you. We do ask everyone that wants to participate in the chat. Whatever questions we ask, we invite you to put your answers in the chat, and we can read them on air. Of course, if you don't want them read, please indicate that, much like you do about having your link shared. We'd appreciate that, and we will respect your wishes. Anyway, as usual, first we'll introduce the panel. My name is Jason. I'm the host of the broadcast, and I'm happy to be joined by all of us tonight. Last week, Glenn had to be away, but he's back again, and even with not feeling 100%, he's still willing to take 2 hours of his Sunday morning out to spend time with us. So we'll introduce him first, introducing Glenn from Australia, if no one's ever met him. Glenn, take a minute to say hello to the peoples.
Yeah, hi. No, I'm all right. I'm dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
It's all good.
All right.
Life goes on.
Well, I'm assuming everything went well last weekend or last Monday.
Yeah, we just had to take Sandra down to specialists in Sydney. So yeah, we're just working. It's like everything else. You've got to work through issues. You know, everyone's got them.
Sure.
And yeah, work through it. Get there. See what happens.
All right,
and do the best you can. So that's
sure.
It.
So for those of us who've never been to Australia, how far is Sydney from where you're located?
Probably around 4 hours.
Okay.
In the traffic, about 4 days.
4 days, yeah.
But you go in through the Blue Mountains, which is obviously a big tourist area.
Sure.
But it's a very painful drive because it's like suburbia, and the speed signs change all the time up and down hills. But then you go in on the motorway to Sydney. It depends, like with the traffic, if you is in peak, is horrendous. So you try to get out of there real fast.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of roofs on the road?
No.
Okay.
No, you don't see that. I can explain. The roos are really active in the early morning and dusk.
Okay.
And of course, if you're in suburbia, there's going to be no roos. It's
right
when you're out in the countryside. Like Australia's huge. It's not like the US where it's all built up.
Right.
Here it's just like only 5 minutes out of here, even a little town, or 1 minute, you're out in the country.
Right.
There's just nothing else there other than bush.
Right.
So, and they're only active in the lower temperatures. Once you get above about, what would it be, 7, I'm not doing the Fahrenheit, I'd have to work it out, but around 75 or 70 degrees Fahrenheit, they're not going to be there. They're not going to be active. So,
okay.
So in the winter mornings when it's cool, and yeah, you've got to be very careful. And even then, it's still easy to hit them. I see them.
Sure.
I haven't hit any since the one that smashed my car to pieces. So,
Right.
but I see them. But it just sometimes you see none for 2 weeks, and then you might see 10.
Right.
But you certainly don't want to hit them
No.
because they will, like did to my car, just took the front off, like
Yeah.
it got like a bomb hit it,
Wow.
Whoa,
a missile.
that sounds worse than deer here.
Well, they're
They've
not
got a
as
lot of
big as
muscle.
deer, but they're like brick shit house.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you're going at speed, you can imagine what damage you can do.
Well, sure. So when you went to Sydney, did you? I mean, I just don't know. Some people would 4 hour trip. Did you come back on the same day, or did you get a
Oh
hotel?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, you wouldn't stay in Sydney. It costs you a fortune.
Oh yeah.
No,
Okay.
no. Uh, no, it's easy to drive for 3 or 4 hours, and then come back. It's only like 7, 8 hour drive in a day. It's nothing
Okay.
for
Sure.
us. Like, and we're used to driving 10, 12, 15 hours in the day, no trouble.
Okay. Well, that's good.
We're used to it. My
All
son,
right.
like from here to Brisbane, which is my home, essentially home city, it's like 11 hours. Just do that. Just do that in a blink.
Okay.
No hassle. Just go straight through.
Sure.
So, yep.
Well, all right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that. Let's also hear from my amazing wife, Jennifer. Jennifer, take a minute to say hello to the peoples, please.
Hey. I'm happy to be here. And it's been a long weekend, but I'm grateful for every bit of it. And it's been beautiful out here in South
Yeah.
Carolina. It's been in the, I was supposed to say early, high 70s and
Yeah.
blue skies, sunny with a little bit of a breeze. It's been really nice. So yeah, doing good. Doing good. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
And appreciate everybody else being here too.
Well, thank you. Both Jen was talking about the weather here. Both yesterday and today hit a record high for this time of year.
Oh, I didn't
Uh,
realize that.
yeah, well, it showed up on the bottom of my screen on my computer, record high. I just took a look at it. And, it's usually not this hot, this warm. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's not like 90 or anything, but usually it's a little bit cooler still this time of year. So, I didn't check to see what the rest of the week's going to be like, but yeah, it's been nice. It's been really nice, and of course, with the nice weather, then you have the bugs and stuff that come back out, which I'm not a huge fan of. But uh, you have to have one to avoid the other, I guess. Um, Meaning when it's cold, there's no bugs, but when it gets warm again, there they come. Anyway, thank you, Jen. Let's hear
Yeah.
from Marisa. Last but not least, certainly, take a minute to say hello to the peoples, please.
Well, thank you, Jason. We're looking at 61 degrees Fahrenheit here in Newark, Ohio, and it's beautiful, cloudy, with a chance of rain at about 1 a.m. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight, whether you're here live, or catching that replay. Thank you for stopping by True Story Live. And if you are so moved to do, please take a moment to share the stream out on your social media. Please and thank you. Also, if you have any suggestions for topics that you'd like to see us cover, if you want to share your own true life story, if you have any questions, if you have any prayer requests, please feel free to reach out to any of us. I will be putting my email in the chat at some point, and I invite my co-panelists to throw their contact info out there if you're more comfortable reaching out to any one of them. Please and thank you. Thanks for joining us. We're just kicking it back and having a nice leisurely evening tonight. And I'm looking forward to getting hip deep in whatever kind of mischief we're getting into here on True Story Live tonight. I will be sharing some links. If you want your link shared, please let us know in the chat. And if you don't want your link shared, let us know and we will respect your wishes. That being said, let's get started. Woo!
I love it. Thank you, Marissa.
Woo!
Appreciate that. Yeah. So, Jen, there's several people in the chat this time, right at the beginning of the broadcast. I'm a little surprised by that since it is Easter, but do you mind saying hello to the peoples in the chat?
Not at all. Let me pull it back up. I was editing my photos with the cards. All right. We've got Nez. Nez is here. Wisconsin Greg. Hey, Greg. Bubba News is here. Bobby Myers. Glad you guys are here. We have Christ is the Truth. What's up with you? Christ is the truth. He says, "Okay, guys, what's up?" Celine's here, and that is it so far.
All
Glad
right.
you guys decided to pop by. I hope you've had a good Sunday, and if you celebrate Easter, happy Easter.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do celebrate Easter, what does that look like for you? If you want to share in the chat, would love to hear. I think traditionally, most people on Easter will go to church. It's one of two of the biggest church attendance days, at least in the United States. Even people that don't normally go to church will go to church on Easter Sunday and also sometimes around Christmas. So yeah, they pull out all the big guns. Most of the churches, bigger productions and things like that. Kind of wish it wasn't like that. It just seems like it should just be focused on the reason for the season, so to speak. But that's just my personal opinion. But did you go to church? Did you eat with family? If you've got kids, did you do like an Easter egg hunt? Yeah, we obviously know that they have combined all the holidays with pagan holidays, so um, we certainly get all that. So again, it's taken one with the other, I suppose. But I think for believers, the importance of today is celebrating the resurrection of Christ, while the celebration of Christmas, as far as believers are concerned, are celebrating the birth of Christ, even though everyone knows that he wasn't born at Christmas time. So anyway, and then other people don't celebrate either one of those, and that's fine. I think Paul said it best when he said, if you want to celebrate the holiday, celebrate it. If you don't want to celebrate it, don't celebrate it. But if you don't, or you do, someone else does or doesn't, don't be a jerk. It's my paraphrase of what Paul's saying. Don't be a jerk to them. Don't flaunt it in their face if you celebrate it, and if you don't celebrate, don't make people feel guilty. Yeah, that's my interpretation of that. All right, so
spiel.
Yeah, that's my spiel, my short spiel, which I'm not known for a lot of times. More known for the long spiels.
Yep.
We'll try to say hello to anyone new that comes in the chat. If you see anyone you haven't met before, please, as you always do, make them feel welcome. And again, for those of you that came in a few minutes late, we're going to be asking some questions of each other and get to know each other more. We would love you to answer in the chat if you would. And then if you, we'd like to read your answers, or I'd like to read your answers. But if you don't want your answer shared, please indicate that in the chat. And as Marisa says, we will respect your wishes. So thank you. Also, Annette Sandrock just popped in the chat while I was talking.
Hey, Annette.
Yeah, Annette. And that's been coming every Sunday. So we appreciate that, Annette. As I always say, come when you want. You can come early, come late, but we're grateful you're here. So thank you.
Oh, Bobby Meyer, I really want some of your baklava.
Oh my gosh, we were talking about that
like last week.
Yeah, last weekend or weekend before last, something like that.
I think we saw a recipe for a honey pistachio baklava cheesecake.
Oh yeah,
it looked really good. I was like, oh, hello, come on over.
Yeah, kind of hoping you make it sometime.
We will see.
We'll see. Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. We're gonna Jen, you tell everyone what we're doing tonight.
So we kind of ran out of cards a little bit. We have like 2 different game decks here at home, so I didn't want to be repetitive. So I found some other ones online. So we'll go through those and see where it takes us.
All right.
Like the wind.
Fantastic.
All right. First question we will start with. And like Cripps said, if you guys want to answer in the chat, feel free, and we'd love to share your answers on the show if you don't mind.
Yep.
Let's see. If you could meet any historical figure, who would it be? I was gonna say I would love to meet Jesus, really and truly. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, sure.
But also doing a lot of listening.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Let's say you had to choose another one, what would it be? Not Jesus.
I did think of a second one. His name. Okay, hold on. Wait, Paulo Coelho.
Oh, yeah.
He has such amazing quotes, and I think he's written some books. But I really love his mind.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been really wonderful to meet him and talk with him.
Sure.
What about you?
Well, I was also going to say Jesus first, and I think I would have a lot of questions too, and I think that would be a wonderful conversation for sure. But if I couldn't do that, then Edgar Allan Poe, I think I would like to meet him, talk to him, pick his brain. It's one of my favorite writers. Yeah. There's several others, but those are the ones that came to mind immediately.
I'm going to put the questions in the chat too.
Okay, thank you. John Robb says Noah. Interesting.
Oh, that's a good one.
And
then Bob,
yeah. Does William Shakespeare count as a historical figure? I think so. I mean, there's some argument that William Shakespeare did not do the writings for which he is credited. I don't know how anyone knows that or what the big deal is. You know, he's still credited as far as the plays that I've been in that have his name on the cover. So I don't know. I think people challenge things all the time. I read a couple stories from Edgar Allan Poe on my other channel, and I had a guy that commented, and he said, "Good narration, but of course you know that Edgar Allan Poe didn't write those." And he had a whole story. He gave me a whole history of this other guy that supposedly did the writing, and Edgar stole it from him, got it published before he could stop him. And then, I don't know. I just know that if that is true, it's not something that has changed the fact that there are books still out there to this day, over 150 years later, or however long it's been. They haven't gone back and ripped away the credit from them. So I'm just going to go with that for now.
All right.
Yeah. Anyhow. Marisa, what do you say?
Jesus, naturally, but also Noah, certainly, but also Enoch. Let's go back farther than Noah.
Oh, that's a good one.
I want to talk to Enoch, yes.
That is a good one.
Good stuff.
Oh, yeah. All right, Glenzo, you're up.
Historical figure.
There was two came into my head, Leonardo da Vinci and Albert Einstein.
Nice.
Oh, very nice choices. Gosh, I'd like to get all these people together and have a dinner.
Yeah, I actually appreciate Albert Einstein for someone that is considered to be the greatest thinker, arguably the greatest thinker of all time. He had some interesting thoughts on religion and spirituality, which I think is pretty free thinking of him, when there's a lot of quote unquote scientists that are afraid to mix spirituality with physical science. And he wasn't really like a biologist or anything, but still. Anyway. And Leonardo da Vinci,
that would be my third.
Lots of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, Michelangelo.
Yep. Anyone else answer? William Shakespeare, Edgar Allan Poe, J.R.R. Tolkien. long as they were doing book characters. I would love to meet several of those. I couldn't even pick. Yeah, I get it, Bobby. It's hard. It's hard to pick one. I'm glad you picked
Yeah.
a couple. Annette says Jesus as well. That makes sense. All right.
All right. Let's see. We ready for the next one?
Yep.
Okay. If you could do any job in the world, what would it be? So I'm guessing this is even not like what you're capable of doing, like, because there's a lot of
Any
jobs.
job.
Any job.
Yeah. Ooh, any job. Let's see.
You want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
This popped up in my head. I would love to learn how to do glass blowing. It has always fascinated me.
Oh, well, that's a good
Glass blowing. Yeah. There's so much that you can do with it. I don't know if you guys have ever watched videos on YouTube of different things that they make, sculptures and vases and lampshades and all kinds of stuff, paperweights. It's so fascinating how they create.
Well, I actually have one better than that. When I went to a private Christian school, and we used to do, for those people that did really well with their grades, which I occasionally was one, you got a special privileges, and part of the special privileges is on Fridays, the people that were at a certain quote unquote level, A, C, and E. It was accelerated Christian education, so of course those were the letters they used for the level. And we went lots of different places. Like one of the places we went is Coca-Cola Bottling Company, and we got a tour of the whole factory and saw how they made Coca-Cola. But we went to a glass blowing factory, and I actually got a chance to see them make various glasses, blow glass and stuff. So that was fun. I can't say that I wanted to do it because it looked like it was pretty dangerous. It was really hot.
Very hot. Very hot.
Open furniture, open furniture, open furnace. I was impressed by it, the artistry of it, and so we got to see them do a couple of things from start to finish, and I found that
that's cool.
There's two things I would like to do. One, I would love to do voiceover work for movies and cartoons and TV shows and things like that. Audio books.
You would be good at all that.
Well, thank you. I would really enjoy that. I think I would be good at it, and I think that I know it pays well. If you do it for movies and stuff. And then also, I shared last weekend that I wanted to be a Hollywood movie actor. I still would like to just be in one movie, just to say I did it. A really good movie, like an A movie, just to say I did, not just an extra. Those are the first two things, and then third, to be a counselor. Now, theoretically, all three of those things I could do, except for being a movie actor. It would involve, probably, and without some kind of stroke of luck, because someone coming in doing a movie here, it would include going to Los Angeles, and I'm not really interested in doing that at all. Voiceovers you can kind of do from anywhere if you know someone in the business and get your foot in the door. So that's more of a possibility that could happen. And then being a counselor, it just is a matter of getting a master's degree, which takes more debt, and school, which I'm probably, I don't say I'm not going to do it, but it's probably unlikely at this point, but we'll see. All right. Who's next? Marisa?
Yes. What was the question?
Oh, if you could have any. Wait, well, hold on. Let me.
The job thing, is that what it was?
Yeah. If you could do any job in the world, what would it be?
I think I'm doing it.
Being a mom.
Being an artist and a mom.
Awesome.
And
I love
having
that.
fun on YouTube.
Yeah.
Meeting all kinds of people.
I'm there. I'm good. Living the dream, baby.
Living the dream. I love it.
Awesome.
All right. What about you, Glenn?
Probably some form of astronomical research.
Oh,
Oh, very
Looking
cool.
for exoplanets or something like that.
okay. Well, that sounds like fun.
I could picture you doing that.
Yeah, I could. The
Sure.
thing is, but it consumes your life. That's the thing. Once you get into that sort of field, so I just didn't have the thought that I wanted to consume my life with that. I'd rather do other things. But if it was for a job I could pick, yeah, I'd pick it.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's all right. All right. Good.
All right.
Did anybody answer in the chat? No.
Not
Nope.
the question, no.
Okay.
At least I don't think so. Oh, John Robb did actually say the last question, Mark Twain would be interesting to meet. Historical figure.
Yeah, he said Jesus, and then I didn't see the Mark Twain, but Mark Twain. Oh, John Robb says, I want to give out huge checks for Publishers Clearinghouse. That would be fun. Talk about people being at first kind of disgruntled when you ring their doorbell, and then when they know why you're there, just absolutely loving you. I mean, who would be mad at someone bringing a Publishers Clearinghouse check to them with their name on it? I can't imagine anyone would be very upset about that. I would say even if they're pretty antisocial, they would at least pretend to be nice while they're receiving their check, I would think. Yeah.
I just want to remind everybody things are getting a little heated in the chat. Let's just please keep it respectful, okay? People are allowed to have their own opinions. Let's not be attacking anybody and their beliefs. Let's just keep the love here, okay? Next question. What's your favorite way to relax after a long day?
Oh, before we do that, I forgot to, Bobby, maybe you said something, Jen, but Bobby said movie critic in the answer to
no, I didn't see that one.
I would actually enjoy that too, Bobby, being a movie critic. I don't usually listen to other movie critics. I might read the review on it, but I still end up making my own decision. But yeah, I love movies, and I would love to present my opinions. Really, anybody can do that. I mean, you can go on the website for the movie, or I mean, to get paid to do it, I think you would have to work for a magazine or a newspaper or maybe a YouTube channel, something like that.
Yeah, there's some really good YouTube channels out there that do reviews.
Yeah, there are.
Very insightful.
Some of those I like more than the newspaper reviews used to be back when newspaper was a thing. I think it still is, but it just, people get their news digitally, except for older people, probably. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. All right. Sorry about that, Jen. Go ahead.
That's all right.
Read the question again.
What's your favorite way to relax after a long day?
That's easy. Sitting on the love seat next to you and watching a show and having a wonderful dinner and propping my feet up and feetsies, and that's it.
Yeah, I like coming home after a long day to Mr. Jason in our home and being out in the country and the crickets and the smell of the woods. It's such a relaxing smell.
Yeah, it really doesn't take much. It doesn't take much for me to relax, and almost when I have to work in the office, it's not a horrible job, and I don't mind necessarily. But every other week I get to work from home, and I prefer that. So when I'm done with work from home, it's a couple steps away from my office to the love seat. I mean, usually when Jen gets home, we each take a little time to ourselves, and then we meet out there and spend the rest of the evening together before bed. When I work in the office, the minute I walk out the door, I'm excited that I'm going to be on my way home. Of course, I'm dealing with traffic and stuff, but it's still a good thing to know that in 20-25 minutes I'll be home, and I look forward to it every day. So yeah, that's all I need.
Sweet.
All right.
What about you, Nez or Glenn? What's your favorite way to relax after a long day?
Oh, I like to just enjoy a little quiet time with the nature sounds on when it's time for me to go to bed. I like the thunderstorm stuff. I like the ocean sounds. During the day, I like the relaxing, and the cats like it too. Cat TV, and it's birds and
Nice.
squirrels, and
Sure.
the kitties like it, but it really does help me to chill out. And I can't deal with commercials and crap
No.
coming at me all the time. I don't need it. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't even want music or a movie. Sometimes I just need nature. So I've been finding that to be true more and more as I get older.
I like it. Perfect. Galenzo?
Yeah, long time since I've had that thought.
Right.
Be good to do nothing and not be responsible for others, so I could just chill out for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I hear you,
office,
Glenn.
look at the wall. That's that's pretty impressive.
Just look at the wall.
Well, if you're looking at the wall, you're not up doing something with someone else.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
You get it.
Sure.
Sometimes you just want space.
Yeah. Yeah, space is good.
You bet. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Jen.
Okay, if you could have any historical artifact that's ever existed, what would it be? Mine would be kind of big to have in a house. I could get a house that would be big enough to fit it.
Yeah.
But this wouldn't necessarily be legal to have. I'm just going to leave y'all hanging for a few seconds. I would love to have the astronomical clock that's in Prague.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That would be really, really cool.
That's fantastic. It's interesting.
I just love that.
Yeah, I used the image of that clock on one of the TSL when we were on Blog Talk. I don't expect you to remember that, but I used that image of the clock for a broadcast.
Oh, I think I do remember that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Absolutely.
It's beautiful. Maybe I'll just move into the building it's on. It's not super high up.
Right.
Exactly.
What do you know what that building is? Do you know what they use the building for, if anything?
Let's see.
I'm really asking. I don't know. It's not a gotcha question.
So it's a medieval astronomical clock attached to the old town hall in Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
And it dates back to 1410, created by clockmaker blah, blah, blah. I cannot pronounce that name.
Yeah.
But he was a professor of mathematics and astronomy.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. There was two people, the clockmaker and the professor of mathematics and astronomy.
Sure.
And that gentleman's name was Jan Sindel.
Okay.
Very cool.
That is very cool. Hello to Meyer Buttrieks. Welcome.
Hello.
We're glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so for me, now this is historical. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This has happened, and they don't deny it. But throughout history, for some reason, people burn libraries down. And probably, as far as I'm aware, one of the biggest travesties of all time was the library at Alexandria being burned. They were able to rescue some of the manuscripts that were kept there, and it was a collection of lots of different writings from different conquered countries, Alexander the Great, back in the day. And I would like to have all that stuff back. And I wouldn't be able to understand a lot of it. I'd have to probably get a translator of some sort. But if I could have that, I would, because I want to know what the truth is about a lot of things. And I could, now this part could just be a conspiracy on my part, that there's a reason why they burned the library down. And I'd like to know what that is that was being covered up.
I want to change my name to everything in the basement underneath the Catholic.
The Vatican?
The Vatican.
Vatican
Can
basement?
I just take it all? Could that be considered one thing if it's all in there?
Yeah. That's why I said the contents of the library.
The contents, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Change my answer.
That's okay. You can change your answer. Yeah, it's information. To me, is one of the most important things. And I probably, if you would have asked me that at 20 years old, I probably would have had a different answer. But over the years, I've matured, hopefully, and looked into a lot of things. And I like to have knowledge, and that would be something that I feel like I could get a lot of knowledge from. And yeah, that'd be interesting. There you go. What about you, Glenn?
Probably two. And I can't think for the life of me the name, but one of the famous Persian carpets.
Oh.
And one of the famous Japanese wood blocks.
Oh.
There you go. That's a bit left field for you.
Fantastic. Yeah. Persian carpet and Japanese wood blocks. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. What about you, Marisa?
Well, Jen already claimed what's under the Vatican. You can have that. I'll take what's under the Smithsonian. Okay,
oh,
there you go. Between the two of us,
can I change my answer?
No, you may not.
Can we look at each other's collections?
Yeah,
I'm sure they're connected by some kind of underground tunnel by now.
We'll just dig a tunnel from my house to yours in Ohio, so we can look at each other's collections.
Or you could just subvert the tunnels that are already there. You know, you could always.
Yeah, I think there's already tunnels there. Is what I think.
Yeah, there are already tunnels. So there you go. Well, that's interesting that the three of us would like to have information. You know, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. That's everybody on that one.
Okay, next one. If you could be a character in any book, who would you be? This is a hard one for me because I've read so many books.
Yeah.
And now I'm drawing a blank. I'm like, wait a minute. They all blend together.
It just popped in my head. The Count of Monte Cristo.
Ooh.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Of course, I wouldn't have liked having to spend all the time in a horrible prison, but I see it as a metaphor for life, that you spend a lot of time in a confined place, and then hopefully at the end of that you have redemption. And in that story, he found treasure, and first he was out for revenge, and then within the telling of the story, he just it's a reconciliation story, and there's a lot in that one. It's one of my favorite novels that exists in the world. So that's the first one that popped into my head, and that's what I'm going with.
I still can't think of one, so somebody else is going to have to go next.
Okay, Marisa, do you have a
fiction or nonfiction?
You pick.
Either or.
Okay, well, if it can be nonfiction, then I would like to be. Well, I mean, I really don't want to be anybody else, but for the sake of answering the question, I would say, Let's be Queen Esther from the Book of Esther.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's a good
Now,
one.
you'd have romance and adventure and murder and mystery and intrigue, and you'd have it all right there happening. Yes.
Yeah, she was a smart one.
Yes.
Yeah. She also cared about her people. Yeah, that's a good one. What about you, Glenn?
Probably Santiago from The Alchemist, from
Oh,
by Paolo.
it's a great book.
I still have yet to read that.
Well, you should read it. It's
I've got it in
about,
my library waiting.
well, they travel the world.
Yeah.
Well, travel from Andalusia to and around the traps to seek the hidden treasure, but then come back round and see that it was right in front of you all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, what more profound experience can that be? Than that,
Yeah.
can there be?
That's a good one.
Yep.
Thank you,
Okay,
Glenn.
I will pick Elise McKenna from Somewhere in Time
Oh.
because it's a love story and there's time travel. Yes, there is severe heartbreak, but there's also
Oh.
reconciliation. It's a
Oh.
very, very beautiful story and movie. If y'all haven't seen it, it's a great movie. It used to come on when I was like, I'd stay home sick from school in middle school, and I saw it for the first time, and I cried and cried. I was like, what the heck? The penny, the stupid penny.
I cried
Why did
too.
the penny have to be in the bucket? Oh,
I think I was
so
12 when I
heartbreaking.
saw that. I saw it in the movie theater. I went and saw movies all the time. If it wasn't rated R, I don't remember what the rating on that one was. I don't think it was R because I saw it and I didn't get in trouble for it. So I assume that it wasn't. I don't remember there being any nudity in it or anything.
Oh, it's PG.
PG. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that at South Park Cinemas, which no longer exists, but it's South Park exists. They just don't have the theater attached to it anymore. It's probably a Panera Bread or something now, but yeah, went and saw that, and that scene was probably one of the most heart-wrenching scenes of my young life. And I have always been a sort of romantic, but I like the time travel elements of it as well.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by that and how he went and bought the clothes and laid in
Tried
his
to
bed.
fit in.
He tried first to play the yeah, you're right, Jen. He tried to, that wasn't exactly the right clothes. I think that was a nice addition to the actual story. His suit wasn't all that great. But he had the tape player and he recorded himself and kept playing it, and it didn't work and didn't work and didn't work. Then it finally occurred to him that, yeah, it's a modern day tape player. How's that going to work if he's trying to travel back in time?
Yeah.
But
if only, right?
Just a fascinating story. That's a really good one.
And also her being an actress. I would love to experience that.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Let me read the answers to this real quick.
Yeah. Sorry.
So from the last question, I missed this, but John Robb says the Royal Mint coin collection to the previous question. Meyer says Smithsonian, good answer. And then Meyer says Robin Hood, what character in any book would you be? And then John Robb says, again, Noah. Bobby says, I would be Lucy Pevensie from the Narnia books. Lucy, yeah.
I thought she was going to say Charlie Brown. I was like, oh no.
I would probably get it if you just said Lucy from the Narnia books, but I wouldn't have been able to get her last name. I wouldn't have been able to remember that. So that's kudos on you for remembering what her last name is. Not unlike the Nez's current life. LOL. Okay. Annette says Katniss Everdeen. That's a good one. And Rob says Noah got to see 5 centuries of history according to the text. Wow, that's good.
Bobby Myers says Bella Swan.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
That would be fun. Meyer says Christopher Reeve, great story. Rest in peace, South Park Theater. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Rob, I don't remember. Did you ever go with me to South? I mean, we saw movies together, but I think it was Tower Place Cinemas where we saw most of our movies. Sometimes Rob and I would do movie marathons where we would pay for one movie and sneak in to see another one. I know it wasn't very good of us. It was stealing, of course, but that's what we did. Not every time. We paid for popcorn. Okay, just come on, give us a break. Okay, go ahead, Jen.
okay. This might be an interesting one. What's the best decision you ever made that went against your better judgment? I'll go first if you guys need to think.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'll have to think.
Opening an antique store. I was not for this decision. I was very like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if I want to do this, but I was at a time in my life where I did what I was told and kept my mouth shut. And I really don't regret it. It just was such an amazing job, and traveling and seeing antique shows and going to auctions and learning about furniture and art and all kinds of stuff. There was two things that we found that were pretty amazing. Excuse me, three. One of them was this huge 3x3x3 safe. I don't know what era it was from, but it was cast iron and it had rivets all over it. It had cast iron wheels. It had a key that was about 9 inches long, a skeleton key that was pretty big. I have a picture of it somewhere. And the front of it, like, it didn't have a door. So the front of it, you actually had to find the rivet because there was like overlapping metal that was wrapped around, like almost overlapping metal. I don't know how to explain it, but it had rivets attached to all different parts of the metal straps. Like there were straps all over it. And you actually had to shift one of the rivets to the side. It was a secret rivet.
Oh.
And when you shifted it to the left, it revealed the keyhole. And when you stuck the key in and turned it, it shook the floor.
Wow.
So when you opened the door, the mechanisms behind the door that worked the locking mechanism, it was just magnificent. The second thing was we found a huge copper still from the 1600s that was stamped by, it was a silver maker that got into copper making. I forget the term for that, but coppersmith. And it had his name, and we did research on it, and it actually had been on the East India Trading Company ship.
Wow.
And when we posted it on our social media, we actually had Colonial Williamsburg call us, and they bought it from us for an exhibit, for a metal exhibit that they had in Colonial Williamsburg. So that was pretty cool. And the last thing. That
is very cool. Hold on. Right? Before you move on, do you remember how much they paid you for it?
$5,000, which I think we could have gotten more.
How much did you pay for it? Do you remember what was the profit on that thing?
I want to say $350.
Okay.
Is what it was actually found in a barn in Richmond, which is just crazy to me. It was so futuristic looking. It almost looked like a robot. You know, it was, I don't know if you guys have ever seen an old whiskey still. It was pretty big, but it had like a couple parts to it. And you had to put it together. That was really cool. So the safe, the still, and there was one other thing that was really, really cool. I think it flew out of my head. Anyway, we found some really, really cool stuff over the years. It was, wow. So yeah, I don't regret that. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I love to research. I think the curiosity in my mind and the part of me that's so much of a question asker, I just loved when we'd find something and doing research on it and trying to find out what it was, you know, the era it was made, what it was used for, all of that stuff. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Well, wonderful answer.
Because it was like treasure hunting. So it was treasure hunting on the road when you're finding things. And then it's also treasure hunting in a sense when you're going online to actually research and find out what it is.
Sure.
This wasn't as rare, and I think I told you about this a couple other weeks ago, Jason, we were talking about it, but no, I was telling somebody else. We found a guy that was selling a huge amount of wooden, like amphitheater seats, theater seats.
Yeah, you did tell me about that.
Yeah, they were maple and they had cast iron bases. And we bought a whole bunch of sets, and they were like in sets of 2s and 3s. And they had brass plates on the back, the upper backs of the seats that had numbers that were stamped into the brass. And the guys told us what building it came from. It was either it was Chicago or Philadelphia. I can't remember which two. I think it was Philadelphia, but it actually came from an old building where they had boxing. It was a boxing stadium, like a famous one where a lot of famous boxers boxed. Yep. And so I found all these old pictures, and we ended up actually finding pictures of the chairs. So in the store, we ended up having this setup where we had like antique boxing set, the old satin antique shorts that the boxers would wear.
Yeah.
We had some of those. We had boxing gloves and this huge poster, and then these chairs set up underneath it. It was really cool.
No, that is super cool.
That was really fun. All right, who's next?
Well, let me ask you this first. So who found the actual picture of the boxing?
That was me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because usually my ex was driving and I was on my phone just researching up a storm.
It's not really fair. I knew the answer to that, but I wanted to ask anyway to make a point. I knew it. That's a good one.
You knew it.
Before I answer, let me just check and see if I think I saw. So Annette said having children, and Marisa agreed with that. Let's see what else. Best decision ever made. I guess that's it. Okay, this was easy for me, and that would be taking care of my grandma when my mom died. So my mom died in March of 2017, and she had made it clear to me, I didn't think it was ever going to happen, but she said if something happened to her and grandma was still alive, she wanted me to take care of her. And of course, I agreed to that, thinking it would never take place. I mean, my mom died before my grandma. She was already in her 90s when my mom died. 92, 91, maybe 91. Yeah, 91. And so I agreed to it, thinking it would never happen. And then obviously she died. And I didn't want to do it. Obviously, there were parts of me, Jen, we're talking about parts a lot. There were parts of me that really wanted to do it, and there were other parts of me that just didn't want to touch it with the 10-foot pole. But I agreed to do it, and it changed my life. It wasn't my grandma that changed my life. It was the fact that I had a lot more time than I had before, because before that, you guys have heard me talk about how I was just
working all the time,
pay bills, and didn't have any money saved or anything, living paycheck to paycheck, which is not much different than now, but the rest of my life is very different than back then. Didn't have much going for me. I mean, I enjoyed driving Lyft and Uber and Black Car, and I enjoyed aspects of that for sure, but it just wasn't making. I moved to the Black Car because Uber and Lyft were not making enough money. So I started making money, but then the Uber and Lyft were taking over and Black Car was going down, as things do. But that's not the point. The point is taking care of grandma gave me time to do other things that I hadn't had time to do before. And that's when I met Jen. So that decision, though it was against my better judgment in some ways, in other ways it was what I said I was going to do, but it was a huge sacrifice. It just was, to take care of someone like that, and to have someone depend on you that way for 2.5 years. But I would do it again, knowing how it would work out. I would, in a heartbeat. It was the best thing that ever happened to me because of what came out of it. Not the doing it itself, but what came out of it was. Yep.
Very cool.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it again, Glenn and Nez? What's the best decision you've ever made that went against your better judgment?
Go ahead, Glenn.
Okay, this is a conflict between intuition and logical judgment, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I got engaged to someone because my head said, "What are you doing?" and my intuition said, "You've got to do this regardless. You just got to do it." So I can remember I was thinking, oh, "Gee, this is a tough one," because usually it's not a tough one, because usually I just go with my intuition. But I thought, "Oh, what on earth's going on here?" So I went with my intuition, and you bet it was a good call. It was an amazingly good call. So if you go
Nice.
against, it was trust your intuition over everything else. So
Yeah.
that just taught me that it reinforced that huge lesson that I'd always tried to stick by, albeit it was difficult to follow in that instance, but
Sure.
it turned out spot on. You just got to
Yeah.
trust some things in your life. Have faith, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yes.
Sure. Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Marisa?
I agree with Annette. Having children. I was dead set against that early in my life, and boy, was I wrong about that. I love my kids, and I'm so glad I have them.
Yeah. Well, I can't say I understand what that's like, but I certainly appreciate your answer. Thank you.
All right, you guys ready for
Yeah.
the next?
Yeah. Let's keep it
Let's
rolling.
see. What do you wish you were an expert at? I'll go first unless one of you guys wants to go.
No, go ahead. Sure.
So my first answer that popped in my head was going to be math. I am not good at math, and I feel like there's certain things in life that I could understand better, or jobs that I could have if I understood that better. But then in came the second one, which I would prefer more, is music. Reading music and music theory, I would just love to be an expert at. Like one of
Sure.
those people that can play any instrument,
Sure.
especially the piano, harp, violin, cello. Oh, just all of them.
Yeah.
We just watched that movie about the drummer, and what was it called?
Whiplash.
Whiplash. If you guys haven't seen that movie, I kind of was a little bit begrudgingly watching it when
I
Jason
know
went,
you
but he knows me. He was like, I know you, you're going to like this. And it was amazing. It was amazing. Golly, I just loved it. So yeah, definitely music for me.
Yeah. I like your answer because that's kind of the way I was going, but just to try to think of my own thing.
Could be the same.
No, I can, and yeah, I would go with that. But I also thought I would like to be a sailor, like to be able to sail boats. To know everything about how to do that and stuff. I think that would be fun.
Oh, cool.
I mean, there's a part of me that doesn't want to do that because my worst fear is ending up in the middle of some ocean somewhere and not,
No help.
No help. I'm not super afraid of that because I don't put myself in that situation ever.
Yeah.
Never. And I'm not afraid of doing a cruise. I know things can happen on a cruise too, but it's not the same as having a boat. A smaller boat that things can happen to. Weather and all that. I think when you're on a cruise, they pretty much keep track of all that. In modern times, they're able to, steer away from possible storms and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sailing, I'm fascinated by the sport of it and how they know how to move the sails in order to catch a wind one way or the other. I've actually been sailing. My dad's uncle, he's my great uncle. He's been dead for a while, but he had two sailboats, and I was only on one of them, but it was a beautiful sailing vessel. I think it was maybe 24 feet. So it was a decent size one, and it was all polished hard wood. It just was so sharp, and I just was so
sounds
fascinated
beautiful.
with it. I was a little scared, because we went out on the lake and it was kind of a windy day, and that thing would tip on one end or the other where you could stick your hand out and touch the water. I mean, it was tipped up on the side. So if you were on
Yep.
that side of the boat, I mean, I was afraid I was going to fall out. Of course, I never did. And then a couple times I did stick my hand out and put it in the water while we were sliding through it. But I never forgot that, and part of me would like to know how to do that. So there it is.
Cool.
Glenn?
Can you read it again, please?
Yeah. Let's see. Where did I put it? What do you wish you were? Oh, no, that was the last one. Hold on.
The expert.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you could be an expert. Wait, what do you wish you were an expert at?
Now, this is one that I don't really wish that I was an expert at anything. I'm just happy to plod along and be exposed to a range of different things, learn about that, but I don't wish I could be. As the expert, what's that actually mean in inverted commas?
Probably someone that's at the top of the field of whatever the thing is.
Nah. I'd rather just, it's too much effort. Let's just keep it chilled and learn as you go.
This is your answer. Yeah. You can say whatever you want, Glenn.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I am.
All right, smartass.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, let's see.
All right. That's good.
Did Nez go?
No, she didn't.
Okay, go ahead, Nez.
I agree with Glenn. I want to have room for improvement. I want to keep learning as I go. That's exactly what I'd like. And if I had to be at the top of my game, where do you go from there? I would like to think that I keep improving. I would like to think there's always something new to learn. But if I had to just pick something that I'd like to be pretty on top of, but still can learn, survival skills. Ooh. I want to know all my edible plants. I want to know how to, do all those things, from homesteading to canning to, foraging, all those important survival skills. I wish I had all in my head right now. Yes.
I love that answer.
Yeah, that's good.
I will second that.
Yeah. And that says music or art. And that's the only answer that I see.
Myers said, I wish I was an expert air conditioner repairman every July.
Oh. Be good money in that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, next question. If you, it says we, but I'm changing it to you. If you had to live in another country for a year, where would you live and why? I'm going to let one of you guys go first this time.
Australia.
Why is that?
Well, I would like to hang out with Glenn and Sandra for a year. I would really, if money were no object. There are other places I'd like to go to, but if it only could be one place, that'd be what I would choose right in this moment.
I would second that. We'll go together because you're not going without me.
No, I know. I know.
But my second answer probably would be somewhere in Europe. I'd have to think about it for a while to pick where. It's somewhere in Europe.
I know where it wouldn't be. I mean, I would like to visit France, but I don't want to live there. I just have no desire to live in France. But I would live in England, in London area, or on the outskirts of London. Never been there. Maybe I would hate it. I don't know, but I would like to try that. But I don't know anyone there. I mean, I have relatives there somewhere, but I have no idea where they live or how to even find them. I
think it'd be fun to. Oh, God, sorry.
When my grandmother was alive, she did a family tree, and she knew where some of them lived. But I'm sure that stuff is somewhere. When they sold the house, though, I don't know what happened to all that stuff. Part of me doesn't want to know the answer, because I would think that the way they tossed that house away and all the stuff, that it just got, thrown in the garbage.
Lost in the shuffle. Oh gosh,
that's what the whole thing That's the way they responded to that whole thing. It made me think, but I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
I just was going to say it would be great wherever you end up going for a year, especially abroad, to soak up the culture.
Yeah.
Um, I think that would be really, really fun and insightful, educational.
Yep. And then if Glenn and I went somewhere just to remember my mother, I would get a Diet Pepsi and ask for ice.
Nice. Is Glenn rolling his eyes? I think I can hear it from Australia to here.
No, you can get ice
No.
at McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Yeah,
Oh,
think
the
about
other
it, Glenn. I go all the way to Australia to go to McDonald's.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know where else you're going to get the ice.
I don't know.
So no, there's obviously place. Actually, Sandra said I want an ice mocha the other day. I was driving back from Sydney. I'm trying not to get out of the car and get in the sun, and she's at me. So I said, all right. So I go in there, and all they got are these screens where you got to use the apps to put in what you want. Now, I couldn't find it. I don't know what they have over there. They've probably got the same thing where you don't go to the counter anymore. You type, you put it in
Sure.
like on a screen,
Yeah.
then go and collect it. And so I eventually got someone to take the. Well, then when I give it to her, I asked exactly what she wanted. She told me what she wanted. I give it to her. She said, "That's not what I asked for." But I said, "That's what you told me." So, well, how did I get onto that? Oh, McDonald's for the ice.
Yeah.
It had ice in it. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Uh,
strange. Yeah, you can come here. You don't need that much money. I said we'll feed you. You just got to
Yeah.
find the airfare.
Put
We'll
us
deal
up.
with the rest.
there you
And
go.
airfares are coming down in price pretty fast.
Oh, well, that's good. Who knows?
Well, it's like everything else. You can say you're going to do it, or you can do it. You get the choice. You
Yeah.
throw caution to the wind and do it, or you
Uh-huh.
sit on your
Or
backside.
you stay safe.
Okay. Stay
Yeah.
What do you
safe.
mean say? What
Oh no, I
come
meant
on.
do the safe thing, meaning
Oh.
not doing it.
Well, so the only thing keeping me from doing it, other than I don't
The
know,
money.
Australia has it. That's the only thing, money, and I mean, as far as I couldn't get a year off from work, but I could get a couple of weeks. I could save up a couple of weeks, and it would be a paid vacation. You know, I could do
Yeah,
that.
I've said to Nez, and I know she's shaking her head at me. I said, "Do not come here for 2 weeks. It's just ridiculous. It's too
Meaning it should be
short.
longer. Yeah, too short.
Yeah, you need a month at least
Yeah,
because just to go from A to B, it's huge. I mean, you just don't.
sure,
Yeah.
It doesn't take you half an hour to go anywhere.
right.
Yeah, because
We
the
could go a couple of
distances are long.
places and then just hang out the rest of the time.
Yeah,
But would that might be a
Right.
little bit of a shame though. You'd want to see the sights.
Oh, well, if you it's like if you go all that way and pay all that money for an airfare, it just seems.
Yeah.
And if you haven't travelled before,
yeah,
long distance, you'll be jet lagged because you probably don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
First off, it's going to hit you like a brick, so so by the time then you got to go all the way back, and yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
I'm coming to the States for 2 weeks, but that's only because I have to. I can either go for that amount of time or not go at all. Just
Right.
since it's a family bonding issue,
right,
and I'll do anything for that.
sure,
So, I mean, and to spend time with Jonathan and my brother and all the other people that's part of family. So yeah, but
Yeah.
normally I wouldn't go anywhere for 2 weeks. Sandra and
Sure.
I used to go for 4, 5 months. Like, I mean, I know that's ridiculous for most people, but that's what we used to do.
yeah,
It's a long time away from home, that's for sure.
sure. Well, if I
So
ever
we
won
need
the
to
lottery,
talk more. We need to talk more because my window of opportunity is getting diminished by the day with Sandra's health. As you
oh
know.
sure, yeah,
So we've got to find a way.
yeah, I would like to do that.
So.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it would be more feasible if you were coming here, which you are planning on coming here. I would be willing to drive, quite a distance That's more feasible than going to Australia for sure. And it wouldn't be a week, obviously, but yeah, we'll have to talk about it.
Okay, we can. But
Excellent.
you would not be disappointed if you come here.
Oh,
It's
I'm sure.
chilled, man. It's chilled. It's laid back. We don't have any of that USA stuff, and people are actually friendly. They're nice.
You
You
met
go to the
friendly
shop
people
and
here.
oh yeah, I do. But usually when I go to the, okay, it's something you need to experience yourself. It's just different altogether.
Yeah,
Nothing against the US as such, but it's just different.
right.
So I might as well answer the question. I'd go to the Pacific Islands somewhere where it's even more chill than it is here.
Yeah.
Laid back.
Nice.
So,
All
yeah,
right.
I'm not sure which one, but Samoa or Tonga or somewhere like that probably. New Guinea's too hot.
Sure.
Oh, terrible. So that's my answer.
All right. Love it.
Okay.
What's next?
Oh, did everybody answer?
Yeah.
No.
Nope. Nez?
The question is, where would I go for a year?
Yeah, let's see. Where was it? If you had to live in another country for a year, where would you live and why?
Well, I really haven't experienced any other countries other than the Bahamas, Canada, and Germany, other than, besides the United States. And any of those, I don't think I'd want to live for a year in any of those places. They're great places, but I'd rather go somewhere where I, would like to just relax and be laid back. Not that you can't do that anywhere, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
somewhere that's chill.
Somewhere that's
Mhm.
chill. I would love to go to Australia, but what kind of crazy fantasy would it take between lottery and, miracles from God Himself to make that happen for a year? But if it did, Australia'd be where I'd go. But I don't know. I have to think about Diana, and
Oh, sure. Sure.
I would almost have to have enough of money to like have like a nanny or a babysitter or a
Yeah.
tutor or all three or say something.
Yeah. Well, this is like
because
hypothetical, so
Yeah.
it would be like making the decision on where to go, knowing that you had the money and the
Yeah.
ability,
There you go.
to even take care of Diana.
Yeah.
So,
That
like in a
would be it.
perfect world.
That would be it.
All right.
All right.
Next question. What is the worst job in the entire world, in your opinion?
Wastewater treatment plant. That's mine. So cleaning up people's poo. No, thank you. Number two, it's not asking for number two, but number two for me would be Porta-John.
That was going to be my answer.
Okay.
The
Porta-John
people that like
maintenance.
clear those out.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Woo, stinky job.
Now the worst actual job I've done, in my opinion, I've done a lot of menial labor, physical labor jobs in my life, and I've done enough where people could say I don't work or whatever, and I take cushy office jobs. That's all well and good, but I doing roofing in the summertime in any state, but specifically, it happened with me in Illinois during one of the hottest summers on record. It was 103, between 103 and 107 for several weeks that I was doing roofing in Illinois. And you got the heat coming on your back from the actual sun, and the heat coming from below from the asphalt on the shingles that you're installing. Either doesn't matter, old shingles that you're taking up or new shingles you're laying down, doesn't matter which. It's heat coming from both sides, and I do not like being hot. I
Mm-mm.
did it. I did the work, got the
Did it pay
paycheck.
well?
Um, I mean, it paid better than working McDonald's, but not extremely well back then.
Yeah.
I'd put it this way: if I was older and I had more gusto, if I knew what I was getting into. See, I didn't work for a roofing company. I worked for a remodeler, and he was kind of running out of work, so he picked up a job for one of his buddies to help with roofing for 3 months, and I was his employee. So he didn't even do it. He'd send me to the job to work for his buddy, and that's what the job was. And I hated
Wow.
every minute of it. I absolutely just I it was one of those jobs where I mean the first day was fine because I didn't know what I was getting into. And then by the end of that day, knowing that
Oh,
I had to get up
jeez.
the next morning and do it, I almost quit. It was that bad. I
Wait,
didn't.
was that worse than Red Ventures?
Well, that's a different. Red Ventures
Yeah.
was worse spiritually and mentally. It was not a hard job to do, Red
Yeah.
Ventures, as far as what I was actually being paid to do, answering phones and selling direct TV. Um, the other one was more of a physical discomfort, menial labor kind of thing, labor intensive sort of difference. So, yeah, that's how they differ. Um, the roofing job, obviously, it didn't suck the soul out of me. It just sucked all the energy out of me, physical energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right. Mine was the porta potty.
Porta potty. Okay. What about you, Marisa? Worst job?
I'm on the opposite ends of the spectrum than you guys. I will handle dealing with the stinky side of humankind over than being stuck in an office.
Oh,
Oh my God. So please, I will wipe asses and I will cook and clean and I will, you know, do those service jobs more than I would ever want to go back to retail sales or office work. No, thank you.
okay.
Been
Well,
there, done that. I'd rather help somebody else.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you would hate my job then. I work every other week. I work in the office, cubicle sort of situation. Phone work,
Yeah.
answering the phones and stuff. Yeah, I'm sure you would hate that for sure. I don't much like work. Just so you know, Marisa, I don't much like working in a cubicle too. But when you're married and finances are tough to come by, and jobs are even tougher to come by in the age of uh, digital resumes, where you send it out somewhere and you send out 80 resumes and apply for all these jobs and don't hear back from any. So, it is what it is at this point.
Well, I was questioning that. I'm just saying, me personally,
Oh, I
I
know.
don't know, it's claustrophobia. I don't know what, but any of the office things I've ever done, it's just not been a good experience for me.
Oh, I
Yeah.
understand.
I have felt better when I've had jobs that were more menial, if you want to use that word, or labor intensive, or stinky, or whatever. I'm just saying
Yeah.
we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Boy, I know how hard it is to find a job when everyone wants to hire people 30 years younger than you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. Um, Nor do you need to be married to understand how important it is to have, you know, a job or money coming in. But yeah, I just in my experience, I don't know what it is. I think there's a room in hell that's just a big office. That's what I
Yeah.
I love it. That's fantastic. All right. Let's hear
Glenn,
what.
I think, is left. Yeah.
Yeah, Glenn's
Yeah.
nightmare
Can you
job.
read it again, please, just for context?
Sure. Go ahead, Jen.
What is the worst job in the world to you,
Okay. Well, I haven't
in your
really ever
opinion?
had. I haven't had a job that I couldn't. I just like crip. So I mean, in terms of a job, I'll do what I have to. If you've
Yeah.
got to do it, you get on with it, so to speak.
So,
But
yeah.
probably the two that came into mind that I wouldn't really want to do was work in a fish processing factory,
Oh.
Mm.
or pour bitumen on a road in the middle of summer.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
Goodness, the thought of it, you'd be feel like death.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
cope with that. I think that's just shocker.
Yeah, that's a
How
good
do
one
those
too.
people get out there? No.
All right.
Got great respect for people who do some of those more menial jobs, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I would never criticise anyone that
No.
works in retail or does any of that. They've got families to support, just like we
Sure.
all have. So
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, I know some people look down on it, but no.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, just to be clear, I'm not looking down on, and you're not saying that I am, but just to be clear, I'm just saying jobs that I prefer personally. I prefer, those things. Someone has to do it. I mean, someone has to do the job, and if they're able to find someone that's willing to do it, I mean, more power to them. I don't look down on them at all. In fact, I respect people that work with their hands and are willing to get dirty and all of that. I just have already done that sort of thing. And of the two, if it's work on a roof or work in a cubicle, of the two, which I don't like, I would prefer the air conditioned cubicle over the beating down sun outside on a roof.
Yeah.
Oh, not to mention the hell it plays on your body, your ankles, at a slant like that for 8 hours a day.
Yeah. It's tough on the body.
Yeah, I don't think I could physically do it. I probably would go out there for one day in my present physical condition at my age, and I wouldn't be able to show up the next day. I'm afraid. I don't know. Maybe I'd surprise myself, but
No, I agree with you.
yeah.
And I'm seeing firsthand what being out in the sun can do for you.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Do to you.
Yeah,
It's blaming dangerous.
for sure.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Next question. What's one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen? I'll go first.
Okay.
I might come up with a couple more, but the first thing that popped in my head is a newborn baby.
Oh.
I think, I still have this memory of, my nephew and nieces, the ones that I saw right after they were born, just how tiny they were and fresh, and that new baby smell and the tiny fingers and the teeny tiny nails and the eyelashes and oh my gosh, all of them. And they're just so tiny and sweet. It's so beautiful.
Oh, that's cute. I like
And
it.
I'd say with animals as well, when you have these newborn animals, oh my gosh, they're just precious, especially like newborn kittens. Right after they eat, they look like avocados. They've got their full belly of milk. They're sleeping. It's so cute. Oh my goodness. What about you guys?
That's great.
Oh, John Robb said, my daughter's smile. Oh, you're going to make me cry, John.
Oh. I'll go a different direction. I think the most beautiful thing I've seen is Mackinac Island.
Ah, that's good.
There's also in Elk Rapids, Michigan, which is one of my mom's favorite places. I think Glenn has been there. There's a park that's on the edge of Lake Michigan, and Elk River runs through the town and then dumps out into Lake Michigan. And that park, it was one of my mom's favorite places. There's actually a tennis court there that she and I played tennis, and she actually had me walk around in the river that led right into Lake Michigan and pray for my future wife. And so it's a special place to me. And obviously, because I did that with my mom, who's no longer with us here in this realm. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful spot. I've seen other spots that are beautiful, but that's the one that comes to mind. Those two places, they're not too far from each other either. So it's probably my favorite place to be.
Whoa. Myers
What?
said, after the Northridge earthquake in 1990, I saw a tall fountain of water spouting from a ruptured fire hydrant into roaring flames with bolts of electricity arcing from a transformer. It was mesmerizing.
Wow.
And I like Bobby Myers' answer. She said, besides my children and grandchildren, I'd say the Violet Room in my local Museum of the Arts. There are tapestries and carved chests and whatnot from the Middle Ages. I feel really at home there.
Oh,
That's beautiful.
Well, that's great. Annette says if Michigan didn't have terrible roads and inability to turn left, it would be okay. Yeah, Michigan, every year when they get the snow and ice and big heavy trucks and all of that, it beats up the roads pretty bad. And then they go in when it gets warm, they fix all the holes again, and then it just repeats itself. So you're not wrong about the roads in some areas. There are other areas that have more money that take better care of their roads, but in general, you're absolutely correct. I don't know about the turn left thing. Um, yeah, I don't know that. I don't remember that being an issue, but maybe it is. Um, and then Rob says, I've been to Yellowstone and I live next to Yosemite. I'm guessing he's saying that's beautiful. And then Jen says, I so want to visit Yosemite, John. And then John says the Grand Canyon is amazing. I've never gone and walked around the Grand Canyon, but Rob and I drove past it and I flew over it in a plane on the way back. So I've seen it from the air and I've driven by it, but haven't really had the whole true experience, I don't think. Annette says we were just there to see David Cook in Flint on Friday. Oh, okay. So you just were there. Excellent. All right. Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, next question? Or I thought, did Nez go?
No, I don't know. I mean,
No.
whoever's next. Whoever's next.
Okay.
I think my children certainly. I think it's beautiful when I see my two cats get along, who usually are, I won't say antagonistic, but one male, one female, and one's usually ignoring the other. And the first time I saw Billy, I'm like, wow. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay, this is going to be a fun one.
Okay.
Hey,
Wait, no, Glenn didn't go. Go ahead, Glenn.
Please, just
Yeah, what's the
question.
most what and
Beautiful.
why isn't this? Hold on. What's one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen?
I'm going to go with 3. People
Okay.
enjoying themselves, having fun. Sunrise in the desert,
Mm.
and the Islamic Museum in Doha in Qatar.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Can you explain some of the things they have in there, Glenn?
A whole range of Muslim artifacts, from historical artifacts and
Wow.
like with weapons, outfits, carpets, pottery, scientific stuff. it's just like I went into that place. I was just crying my eyes out. I couldn't believe it. It was just like astounding. You know, one of those
Wow.
overwhelming emotional type experiences. I mean, they're the best you can have, I think, or very close to it. When something is just so consuming. Same like in the desert. It's the same sort of thing, albeit a different experience altogether, but the effect is the same.
Oh,
And even
That's
people
amazing.
like people having amazing people who are excited to be doing what they're doing. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
That's
sure.
really, really cool.
Yeah,
I was actually going to add, because that reminds me of something, Bobby's and Glenn's answers. There's two exhibits I saw at the Richmond Museum of Fine Art. One of them was the Louis Comfort Tiffany exhibit. So this was Tiffany that did the stained glass windows. He was very popular for the stained glass windows.
sure.
But I had no idea that he did drawings, architecture, jewelry, mosaics, furniture. Like, it blew my mind what this guy did. Um, One of the things that we had a couple of his glass, like he did blown glass as well. He did a lot of glass work. We had a couple of his pieces in our store, but we also had these windows from a factory, and he had actually designed the lenticular glass
Oh,
that came out of these windows, and they were angled. The lenticular, which lenticular is hard to describe. It's like grooves in the glass that, when you look at it from the side, looking down the glass, it's triangles.
oh,
It's like ribbed almost. But because the factory windows were so high up, the lenticular glass, the way it was made, would actually shoot the sunlight downward because
oh,
all the windows were up high. But that particular exhibit, I cried. They had so many beautiful stained glass windows from churches, and the colors and the way they hand painted on the
oh,
glass.
wow.
Um, and actually, as a side exhibit with this particular exhibit, they had a whole room of Fabergé eggs
Yeah,
displayed,
sure.
which were done by a Russian artist, I think it was, for a lot of the Russian royalty, the czars. And that was amazing, like just mind blowing. And then another exhibit that was done there, I think it was like 2016 or 17, it was the Hollywood costume exhibit. And if anybody knows me really well, they know that costuming with movies and plays and theater, I'm just such a sucker. I'm very critical in regard to costumes that are historically correct.
She is. She really is. She's not lying.
But one of the most beautiful gowns I saw in this exhibit was one from, I want to say it was either Prince of Thieves or Robin Hood. It was one of the Robin Hood movies, but it was the wedding gown that Maid Marian wore, and it was
Oh,
handmade. I don't remember which designer it was made from, but the whole piece, the whole gown was beaded with pumpkin seeds.
oh,
And there were hundreds of them, and you couldn't tell that they were pumpkin seeds until you really got up on, close to it.
oh,
But I got very emotional during this particular exhibit as well, just because of the craftsmanship. It just was amazing. The detail that they go into, and you
sure,
think, usually when it's a movie, yeah, you might get some close-up shots, but a lot of them are more further back. But the
sure.
attention to detail just blows my mind. Like, wow.
Wow, that's
One of
great.
my other favorites was from Moulin Rouge, the movie. So pretty.
Hmm.
So pretty.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
Thanks for trying to explain that the glass. That was worth it. Thank you.
Yeah. That was one of my
Um,
favorites.
Good night to Meyer, who's taken off. Thank you for stopping by. It was good to see you. Hope you have a good night. Happy Easter to you. If you celebrate that sort of thing, have a good night. Thank you. All right.
Next
Anyone?
question.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
sorry.
No.
This one's going to be a fun one. Which one would you choose to be? Pirate, a knight, cowboy, ninja, or princess? And why?
Princess. I want to be a princess.
I was going to ask if that was the one you were going to pick.
No, just
So
for
maybe
fun. No, I would be a knight. Um, Historically, knights. There are theories out there that knights weren't just people that dressed up in metal to fight other soldiers, but they fought the cryptozoids which I won't get into that, but um, it's a fascinating life to me, historically speaking. That's the one of the ones given. That's what I would prefer. I don't have any interest in being a cowboy. Again, it's the work. I don't want to steer cattle, or anything like that. I don't really have any desire to do that.
I totally would.
Okay.
Horseback riding. I actually originally was thinking pirate or princess. Pirate, like I know you learn, because I was leaning toward ninja at first, but pirates have to know how to fight. I love the swashbuckling clothes.
Oh, sure.
Traveling on the open seas. Traveling to different islands and different lands. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
And then princess, I have to say, this is the little girl in me. It's the gowns and the jewels and the tiaras. Especially the gowns, though.
Sure. Yeah, I think in some ways you're a little, well, not in some ways, in a lot of ways, you're more adventurous than I am with certain things, for sure.
I'll be a princess pirate. How about that?
Yeah, you could. You could be
princess cowboy pirate.
Sure, why not?
Why not? This is hypothetical.
Why not? Yep. All right. Anyone else?
What's the list?
It's a pirate, a knight, a cowboy, a ninja, or a princess.
Well, princess sounds easier. The others really awesome. Are a lot of effort. Like, dangerous. They're all dangerous.
Danger.
Well, maybe being a princess is also dangerous, but in another way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A less obvious way.
Yeah, exactly. I can't choose. They all sound pretty boring. No. Maybe I know why Cripps picked it. He sees himself as the knight in shining armor. So
sure. Some ways I
yes.
do.
So, yeah, okay. Well, that one's probably closer unless you don't want, unless you got to get on the horse and go and get your arm chopped off or something, like Monty Python or.
Yeah.
Oh no. The coconuts.
But be the knight without the war and the battles.
Right? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. just do the fun stuff.
Yeah, this is all the fun stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Not the hard stuff.
Yeah.
What about you, Nez?
Cowboy.
Oh.
Yes, I could totally see you being a cowboy. Cowgirl.
Interesting.
And why is that, Nez?
I'd like to camp out and look at the stars, and I don't mind helping drive the cattle and riding horses.
All right.
I love the desert.
Oh.
I could do the cattle. I could do the cattle drive. I would love to do where you can go work on a ranch for a month or something. That would be fun. I would go do that.
Okay.
Sure, I
That'd
would.
be cool.
Well, that's the beauty of answering these questions. You answer from your perspective, so we're all different, which is
I like y'all's answers.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. I meant to get the next one set up. Hold on.
That's all right.
What makes you feel safe? This one's a little more personal.
What makes me feel safe?
I'm going to go first, or you can go first.
Yeah, being with someone that I trust, who trusts me, makes me feel safe. I don't have to worry about them lying or cheating or, being authentic. And I mean, maybe it's not talking about that kind of safe, but that's the first thing that popped into my head.
Yeah. That's similar to mine. Authenticity makes me feel safe.
Yeah.
Being able to be authentic, choosing to be authentic, and then being around other people that are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I like it. All right.
Who's next? What makes you guys feel safe?
Living where I do.
Nice.
I've certainly been to places where I don't feel safe.
Where's the place that you felt the most unsafe, Glenn?
The um, it, okay, the most unsafe in my face, because I mean, obviously there are places where if you go out after dark to certain places, well, that's just inviting trouble. But for the ones that I've experienced just in the as normal part of um, going there, South
Yeah.
Africa.
Oh,
It's
okay.
All right.
absolutely beautiful country, but uh, yike.
There's a lot of violence.
Uh, yeah, some of the places there are like war zones,
Oh,
Yeah.
and
wow.
also just travelling on the roads can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Won't go into it, but it's you get warned,
Sure.
Yeah.
and I'm like I mean we did it with Sandra like in her condition and just did like 3,000 or more miles. I drove on a 4-wheel drive and through it and up into Namibia, like across the desert. But yeah, South Africa, it's more in hindsight that I realised that we could have got into big trouble. We were just
Sure.
fortunate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hindsight's always marvellous. You know, you go and think, oh, we'll be right, but which is the usual attitude. But now I'm thinking I'd be even more careful next time. And sometimes you just can't. Things happen, no matter how much care you take.
True.
So yeah, there's places. Yeah, I didn't feel safe at all. So here, touch wood, out in the country, I feel, unless something untoward happened unusually, it's probably the safest I've felt. Like you go to any city, there are elements, of course, with drugs and petty crime, and you know what I mean.
Sure.
There's a lot of other where you get a population, you're going to get more crime.
Yeah.
Like yeah, but South Africa, yeah, absolutely. Oh, like Johannesburg. Oh my goodness, wow. Huh. Oh, and in terms of feeling, there's places here. If I went out to some of the communities out west, oh yeah, that's like a war zone as well. I'm not saying Australia's perfect at all. There
Right.
are places here which are you drive through them and it is like something out of Mad Max.
Oh, yeah.
Hard to believe, but yeah. So when you're
Wow.
immune to that, it's really tough. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't. Mm, if you come here, we can drive through it and just hope you don't break down.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be doing it. Not now. So, anyway, there you go. Thanks.
Well, if we came there, I'd have to trust you. So if you said, yeah, let's not do that, I would go along with that without an argument.
Yeah, same.
That'd be the way I would tell you would do. Like I mean, anywhere you go, you go at your own risk. People go at
Yeah.
their own risk, but
Sure.
you
Sure.
don't invite trouble and be
No, I don't. No. No.
common sense.
Yeah. In my 20s, I did some things that I wouldn't do today. I'm much smarter. Like we went to New York City for a couple of card shows when I worked for the hobby store, and we went to the Bronx. Now, I'm not implying that even back then every part of the Bronx was bad by any stretch, but there were some bad areas, and people that lived there told us, the guy I was with, he drove an a red IROC Z car, and he said, I wouldn't leave that out on the street where you're going. And we went to this guy's house, and he had a garage, and he let us park the car in the garage next to his car. Um, but we drove around in New York, and people were honking at each other, and I just got right into it like I was a native, and that was stupid. I wouldn't do that today. I think sometimes for some people when they're in their 20s, they feel invincible, like nothing's going to hurt them. And I've been really lucky in my life. And I've had some things happen to me, like being robbed at gunpoint, where it could have gone the other way. And I know it could have. I didn't invite that, but some might say, well, you were driving cab, so you invited it. I don't agree with that, but um, I was reckless sometimes in certain situations that I wouldn't do today for sure. Don't invite trouble. That's what made me think of that. I don't invite trouble. I don't put myself into those situations now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I feel like I have a lot more to lose now than I did back then, too. So that changes things. Anyhow.
What about you, Nez? What makes you feel safe?
23rd Psalm.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Whenever I'm upset or nervous or scared, or that one really comforts me.
Oh, good. That's good. Good answer.
All right. Did you go, Jason? Oh, was it being around people you can trust?
Yeah.
And that trust you?
Authentic.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Next question. What's the very first car you ever had, and did you total it?
Oh, I'll go first. First car I had was a 1977 Ford F-150 pickup truck, cherry red with a white top, and I did not total it. My dad bought it from a quote unquote friend of his, and it had a bad transmission, had a bad engine. We replaced the engine like 3 times, replaced the transmission twice. It was a piece of junk, mechanically speaking. I loved it for the 2 years that I had it. It just was, it was a lemon. I don't know if he didn't take care of it when he had it or whatever. And but my dad wanted a cheap vehicle, and he got it for me, and I was thrilled to have one. And but it just broke down all the time. Oh, in fact, Rob says that was a great truck. It was great to have a truck. I liked the truck itself, but it just broke down all the time. I remember one time I think it was the engine that was out, and I was trying to go to Michigan, and Rob was going to help me. It was on a in a car lot, and um, I was trying to go to Michigan or something, if I remember correctly, and I didn't want to wait until the next day when they opened up. So Rob was going to help me sneak on to. I mean, I didn't owe him money or anything. It was at their shop, and he was going to help me go on to their lot at night and free my vehicle from the garage. Never happened, but it was a conversation that was had.
Yeah.
Yep. See, Rob remembers.
What about you, Nez and Glenn? What was the very first car you ever had? Did you total it?
No way. I treated it like it was part of the family. I mean, why would I be totaling it? A 1963 Morris Major Elite. Ooh, that sounds very classy, but it's really not at all. It's $515 I paid for it. My dad was very good with cars, so he kept it in good nick. So I kept it for like 20 years. Yeah.
Nice.
It was old. Yeah, it worked. Certainly wouldn't. Why would I total something that's the only form of transport I had? That'd be crazy. And what was I going to say? Oh, I didn't even have a synchro on first gear in those old gearboxes. So
Oh, wow.
that's old. Eh?
What color was it?
White with a purple flash on the back.
Nice. Purple
Very
Flash.
uncomfortable. We drove. Oh, I used to drive it to Sydney, drive it everywhere. Crikey, but
Did your
it was
butt fall
when they.
asleep?
Um, yeah, you bet. They didn't have like individual seats in the front in those days. It was just a bench seat.
Yeah.
Yep.
With a stick shift in the middle.
Yeah.
On the floor, wasn't one on the steering column.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a funny story about my grandfather. He was a very aggressive driver. He had an old car, not dissimilar, a bit bigger than mine. Had a column shift. He broke 3 of them.
Oh
Oh
wow.
my
He
goodness.
literally broke 3 of those column shifts off. You can imagine the force he must have used changing gear. Oh,
Goodness
Lord.
gracious.
Holy moly. It's a strong dude.
Yeah, I know. Imagine you're driving your car and then the gear lever's in your hand. What are you going to do now?
No.
So,
Oh my goodness.
This just came into my head.
Yeah, what you can do, my grandpa, my dad's dad had a Plymouth Volare, blue with a navy blue top, hard top, and
Yeah.
it had a problem with the shifter and it would go out. And so what you'd have to do is pull over and get under the vehicle, and you have to reach down there and manually shift it into gear. And then once you manually shift it, sometimes the stick would catch again and you could go on your merry way. But the worst time that happened, I was coming back from work at night in Michigan winter, and it was just warm enough where it wasn't snow and it was pouring down rain, and it happened to me on the way home. I had to pull over on the side of the road and get underneath it. Otherwise, I'd just be stuck there on the side of the road. There's no roadside assistance back then in that area for sure. So it was either get out there and fix it so I could finish driving home, or call my grandpa, which I wasn't going to do at 1:00 in the morning. I worked a dinner shift, closing dinner shift at the restaurant I was working at. And I did fix it, but I'm monkeying around with it, and it was raining, and the water on the side of the road from all the rain coming down, running down the middle of my back
Oh my gosh.
on the side of the road. Miserable. One of the most miserable times. But yeah, so the gear shift was messed up on it sometimes. Didn't happen all the time, but when it happened, that's what you had to do. You had to manually shift it from underneath the car. Anyway.
Oh my.
Yep.
What about you, Nez?
Oldsmobile Delta 88.
Oh.
V8 engine.
Humpty.
Not like the wind. And I didn't total it. It just, it just had run its course and died peacefully. I didn't have a big accident or anything. It just, they don't last forever.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yours looks a lot like very similar to my first car, which was a 1978 Ford Granada.
Yep.
It was a boat. It was so long, like the front of the car, the hood part was so big. Holy moly. Had the bench seats and the push button radio and the manual windows. And it was so funny because if I ever was driving, my brother Mark and I had to share it.
Yeah.
And he's really tall. Even in high school, he was like 6 foot and I was probably 5'4". So if I was driving him somewhere, I had to pull the bench seat further up.
Sure,
and
did.
His knees would be like pushed up in his chest. It's so crazy. Like, oh my gosh. And I didn't total it. It was my grandmother's car, my dad's mom's car. I can still hear the sound, like when you open the door, the old door handles, and and even the sound of it closing, because it was such a heavy car.
Sure.
Made out of steel. But I remember I was going somewhere in our neighborhood and I had the windows down. I had just gotten back from like beach week or something. I think I was going to work when I worked at the Outback. And I was leaning over. We had the radio replaced at some point. So I was messing with the radio and I was still in my neighborhood, close to the exit, like the entrance exit of the neighborhood. And I didn't realize that I started drifting off of the road on the right-hand side as I was driving. And I looked up and I did what you never do, and I haven't done it since, but I jerked the wheel to the left and I overcorrected.
Yeah.
So the car spun out and then it ran over the 25 mile per hour speed limit sign,
Oh
and it
no.
almost went into this like sort of big gully ditch. It didn't quite go into it, but it went into the ditch that was right next to it backward. And yeah.
Oh
So
no.
anyway, someone in our neighborhood ended up, like, once I got it towed, my parents got it towed. They stuck the mile per hour speed limit sign back in the ground, and it was like 3 foot off the ground because I had broken the wood, the wood part like in half. So of course I had this reminder every time I'm driving by, and my family's like, look, and I'm like, I know. But I never did that again. I never overcorrected again.
I bet you
And
didn't.
I definitely paid more attention, but that's the only accident I've ever been in.
Oh, well, that's good.
So
Did you get in
that's pretty
trouble
good.
for that? Did you get in any
I
trouble?
did. I did. And I also told a lie about how it happened.
Oh, you did? What'd you tell
Yeah,
them?
I told my parents that there was all of these pine needles on the front of the car from one of the pine trees that was above our house.
Uh-huh.
And I told them I had the windows down and they flew in, and I got all discombobulated and it happened. I was too afraid to tell them I was messing with the radio.
Oh no.
Whoopsies.
Well,
So
they know now because they listen to
yeah,
the show.
they do. They do. I've only had a couple of those stories where I'm like, hey mom, dad, now that there's all these years between and I don't live at home anymore, I can tell you the truth.
Right.
Like,
I've done
geez.
that with a few things, told my parents later, about a lie that I told when I was younger.
Yep, that's always fun conversation. Sometimes they laugh, sometimes it doesn't go so
Yeah.
well.
No, sometimes it doesn't go so well. Yeah. All right.
All right. Do y'all want to close up, or you want one more?
Yeah. I think it's 9:56. I think we'll close it down. Unless
All
unless it's really good and you want to ask it.
Nah,
Okay.
I did all the good ones.
All right. Well, good. Thank you for doing that, Jen. Appreciate you reading those out for us tonight.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, we'll start saying our goodbyes. I hope everyone has enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We had lots of conversations in the chat. We appreciate everyone being here tonight. Hope you have a good rest of your week. We'll talk off air about what's happening next week. It's probably going to be patriarchy. Jen did the write-up already, so that's up and rearing to go. But we'll, like I said, we'll talk about that. So we'll be doing something back on the normal track next week. Thank you for sticking with us, and good night, everyone. Hope you sleep well. Thank you for being part of tonight's broadcast. Jen, would you like to take a minute to say goodbye to the peoples?
Yeah, it was great hanging out with you guys tonight. Thank you for all your answers. It's great to get to know little bits and pieces of your life story as we share a little bit of ours. And I like the mixture of the deeper questions and the more lighthearted, fun ones. You guys have been making me laugh. I needed some laughter today.
Yeah,
if you guys have any prayer requests, pop them in the chat if you feel comfortable doing that, or you can email Nez. I think she put her email in the chats. I don't know if she wants to do that again. We'd love to pray for you, and we hope you guys have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you next Sunday.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate that. Glenn, you want to take a second to say goodbye to the peoples?
Yeah, sure. See you next week, peoples.
You love it.
Yeah, short and sweet.
Short and sweet. That's all right.
Yep.
Thank you. Let's see. I said goodbye, Glenn, Jensen. Okay, so Marissa's last. And Marissa, if you could take a minute to say goodbye to the peoples and close us out.
Thank you so much, Jason. And we had a great time tonight just hanging out. It's fun just to relax and do a little game night every now and then. And I'm glad we were all here for that. Thank you, everybody who came out. Thank you, everyone who lurked. And thank you, everybody who catches the replay. And we do ask that if you feel led to do so, please share it out on your social media. We'd love that. Thank you so much. And yes, if you do have suggestions or ideas or your own personal experience you'd like to relay or share here on TSL, reach out to any one of us and we will be happy to help make that happen. So, that being said, thank you everybody for coming. I hope whatever kind of day you had today, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate, was a good one. And I hope you had a day filled of love and laughter and hopefully some good food. That's always appropriate, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you everybody for
Absolutely.
being here. God willing, we'll see you next Sunday, right here on True Story Live. Good night and God bless.